Banyamulenge community.
The Banyamulenge people, an ethnic minority with Rwandan ancestry.
The Banyamulenge group.
Banyamulenge civilian.
For decades, one question has fueled endless debates, conflicts, even wars. Who are Banyamulenge people? Are they truly Congolese, or are they Rwandans as their critics claim? Some argue they are simply Rwandan migrants who crossed into Congo. Others say they have always been part of the region, long before colonial borders were drawn. But the truth is not so simple. And today, Banyamulenge find themselves in a brutal struggle.
There is a massacre going on right now. The Mai Mai is attacking the Banyamulenge civilian. They are killing them. They killed more than 250 people.
Are they a people without a land, or a people whose land has been denied? To find the answers, we must step into our time machine and travel back to the 19th century, to the reign of King Rwabugili of Rwanda. According to Rwandan historians, some noble families, mostly classified as Tutsi, left the kingdom to escape heavy taxes imposed by Mwami Rwabugiri. They moved west, settling in what is now South Kivu in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Others fled after the violent war of succession that erupted in 1895 following Rwabugiri's death. This conflict ended with Yuhi Musinga ascending the throne, while supporters of the fallen prince Rudahigwa sought refuge in the west. These groups, mostly cattle herders, established themselves in the highlands above the Ruzizi Plains on the Itombwe Plateau. This was a land of rugged beauty, with altitudes reaching nearly 3,000 meters. It was not ideal for farming, but it was perfect for grazing cattle. Over time, they were granted a mountain called Mulenge, where they settled and built their lives. But the Banyamulenge we know today were not formed by this group alone. Around the same period, it is believed that others arrived from Burundi and Karagwe in Tanzania. Some historians question whether these migrations ever happened, arguing there were no major conflicts to force them out. European sources even dismissed the idea entirely. But then, why do we see traces of these influences in Banyamulenge culture today? One clue lies in language. Today, the Banyamulenge speak two common tongues, Swahili and Kinyamulenge, a dialect blending Kinyarwanda, Kirundi, and Ha, a language spoken by the Ha people of Tanzania. But overwhelmingly, their language remains rooted in Kinyarwanda. This alone is enough for many to claim that they are simply Rwandans living in Congo. But history is never that simple. And there was yet another group, one that did not migrate at all, but was instead reclassified by shifting colonial borders. Before European powers divided the Great Lakes region, parts of what are now South Kivu and mostly North Kivu were once within Rwanda's territory. These lands were home to established communities who suddenly found themselves labeled as Congolese, not by movement, but by decree. They had not crossed any borders, the borders had crossed them. Over generations, they grew into a distinct community. By the early 20th century, colonial rule arrived. The Belgian authorities brought thousands of Rwandan laborers into eastern Congo, over 7,000 between 1925 and 1929 alone. By the 1930s, even more came searching for work, mainly settling in North Kivu and urban centers. Then, during the 1959 Rwandan Revolution, thousands of Tutsi refugees fled into Zaire, escaping persecution from the Hutu-led movement that overthrew the monarchy. By this time, the number of Kinyarwanda speakers in North Kivu alone had grown dramatically. In fact, by the 1960s, nearly half of the region's 3 million people spoke Kinyarwanda, collectively referred to as Rwandans by the local population. With this wave of new arrivals, those who had lived in Mulenge for generations needed a way to distinguish themselves, and so they adopted a new name, Banyamulenge, meaning people of Mulenge. They wanted to make it clear that they were not part of these new migrations, that they had been there long before colonial boundaries were drawn. But here's where things get complicated. Many believe that those who arrived in 1959 to 1960 were later absorbed into the Banyamulenge identity. This remains one of the most contested aspects of their history. Were they truly a distinct people before the colonial era? Or did the name Banyamulenge simply evolve as a political tool to claim Congolese identity?
Bavuga ko Abanyamulenge ari Abanyarwanda bahunze mu 1959.
icyo gihe navutse muri 50 none sogokuruza yavukiye muri Kongo none se sogokuruza yavutse mbere yanjye yavutse nyuma yanjye navutse muri 50 bahunze muri 59 ni ukuvuga kuko navutse sogokuruza afite imyaka 9 avuyeyo kandi ari yavukiye none hariho abagiye nyuma bagenda basanga y'abandi muri icyo gihe cy'umwami bavuga bagiye basanga y'abandi bariko bagenda basanga y'abandi kimwe nuko muri 59 nyine ejo bundi muri 59 nari mpari kuko navutse muri 50 narababonye bahunga nzi n'amazina yabo bahunze igihe cya revolution y'u Rwanda ya mbere à l'époque Gregoire Kayibanda barahunze ndababona nari mfite imyaka 9 narabonaga
Banyamulenge
baba abanyarwanda bahungira muri Kongo basanga abanyamulenge babaye.
As this old man explains, his ancestors were born on this land. He saw others arrive in the late 1950s and 1960s, and this debate had real consequences. By the late 20th century, the question of citizenship became a political weapon. Earlier laws and constitutions had granted both Banyamulenge and Rwandan immigrants the right to Zairian citizenship. But in 1981, a new law restricted citizenship only to those who could prove their ancestors lived in Zaire before 1885. This effectively erased the Banyamulenge's legal status, though in practice, identity cards were not revoked immediately. Then, in the 1990s, tensions escalated. During the national conference in 1991, Celestine Anzaluni, a political leader from South Kivu's Bembe community, publicly declared that the Banyamulenge were not Zairians but Rwandans. He argued that they, along with Rwandans in North Kivu, should be stripped of all legal rights. This moment marked the beginning of a dangerous new chapter for the Banyamulenge, one that would soon lead to war, exile, and a struggle for survival. With Zaire collapsing under Mobutu's rule and ethnic tensions at a boiling point, the Banyamulenge and other Kinyarwanda speakers became targets of violence. Accused of being foreigners, of being Rwanda's hidden hand inside Congo, they were scapegoated for problems they did not create. In 1996, the First Congo War erupted. The Banyamulenge played a key role in the rebellion against Mobutu, aligning with the Rwandan-backed AFDL led by Laurent Désiré Kabila, but their involvement came at a cost. Overnight, they became enemies in the eyes of many. Accusations of betrayal and foreign allegiance fueled hatred against them. When Kabila turned against Rwanda in 1998, the Second Congo War erupted. And the Banyamulenge were caught in the crossfire. Thousands were massacred, entire communities were wiped out. Those who survived fled, some to Rwanda, others deeper into Congo, and many others all over the globe, hoping to find safety. But safety was nowhere to be found.
Banyamulenge bazali bakongole. Totika koinana katina biso. Bavanda des générations et des générations.
Yet despite political recognition, their struggle continues. They remain a people without a place to call home, rejected by their neighbors, accused by their country, and abandoned by history.
For communities, again, you see, this is the whole distortion of it. You are saying it as if Rwandophone communities are Rwanda's problems. Rwandophone communities are Congolese. And this is the point of departure that messes up the whole understanding.
But Rwanda had troops in Congo to deal with...
Are Rwandophone communities Congolese or not?
They're Congolese, but there are also many Rwandans.
They should be treated as such, first of all.
So let's put the facts on the table. The Banyamulenge are not outsiders. They are not invaders. They have lived in Congo for centuries. They fought for Congo, they helped shape its history, and they continue to fight for their right to exist. Yet, they are treated as foreigners in their own land. They are labeled as outsiders, while history, and even the words of Congo's own leaders, say otherwise. The question is, why? Why is their identity still debated? Why are they still fighting for recognition? And most importantly, Who gets to decide who belongs? At the end of the day, history speaks, but so do the people living it. I've given you the facts. Now, the decision is yours.
We are hurt because as we see everybody here, everybody has lost someone. Everybody knows someone who's suffering, who's struggling, everybody has a relative, friend. Every day they're dying, they're starving, they're burning in their houses. They have nothing to eat, no clothes, no shelters. Lots of women have been raped. Lots of women have been raped.
If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.